would you like to say something first? Please.
Thanks for being here, everybody. We we decided to have fun with this and decided to play with the symmetry between the splenic system and the emotional system. And we've called it an improv encounter between emotional Eddie and Scarlet and spleen, to have you understand the symmetry and the, as Richard was saying, the how the emotional motor creates the experience for the opportunity for self-reflected consciousness to become aware of the wisdom that's held in the spleen. The emotional experiences bring forth the wisdom of the spleen, and we've been playing with this in our relating. I'm splenic and he's emotional, and so we've been playing and having this experience, and we thought we'd turn it into an improv so that you guys can have the experience of this symmetry that happens. And so Richard has some things to start us with.
Well, thank you so much for that. And we're going to do this through the lens of the potential awareness gates below the spleen and below the solar plexus. So we'll be looking at the 18, the 28, the 32, as well as the 49, the 55, and the 30. But the story starts in gate 6.
Yeah.
Channel of mating, design of reproduction, which is always a good place for any story to start. So we'll be beginning with emotional Eddie, who is me, and Scarlet in gate 50.
That's right.
Right?
All right, so the scene starts with Eddie at the height of his wave.
This is good here. Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Wow.
My name is Richard.
Hello, I'm Brandy.
Nice to meet you, Brandy.
Nice to meet you.
Wow, do you come here often to this Catalyst program?
This is my first opportunity.
Is that right? That's
Experience,
awesome. So you've been checking out human design?
yes. I have been. How long have you been coming?
Oh, a little while. I got some good friends here. I like to get out and have a good time with them, and we have a good time here. So, but it's great you could join us tonight.
Nice. How long have you been experimenting?
Oh, long time.
Yeah?
Long time. Yeah,
Nice.
really long time. But I wanted to know, do you live here?
I do.
Yeah?
I do. I just moved.
Well, it's great to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Yeah. So you, maybe we could talk human design outside of the group sometime.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I think like tonight, like afterwards.
Oh. How about coffee tomorrow?
Okay, I suppose if you're
Yeah.
clear on that, that's cool with me. Tomorrow sounds good, but I'm so glad to meet you. You look beautiful.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So this is the high of the 6, and the judgment and defense and purpose and values and borders of the 50 playing with each other.
6 in the high end wants to close the deal.
Oh,
I just
okay.
want to be there. I'm feeling it.
Yeah. And the 50 wants to figure out what your values are, how long you've been here, what are you doing here, what's happening, is this safe? Is this something that I can take forward into the future?
Feels safe to me. At least
course
right
it
now.
So we agreed to meet for coffee the next day. Scarlett went home and didn't think about it again. Didn't think about him or coffee the next day. Scarlett's in the moment. But Eddie, what did Eddie do when he got home?
I thought about it all night. Kind of stressed myself out. I was so excited when I met her. I was thrilled. She's hot. She's cool. We're going to learn from each other. We're going to have experiences. But I don't know. Now that I'm home in my space, I'm looking at all the things I got going on. Maybe I was too much. I don't know. But I mean, I'll go tomorrow, I guess. I said I would. So.
Yeah. So we wanted to consummate the deal, but that didn't work out. So tomorrow, here we go. We're at coffee. Fast forward. And now we're going to talk about the 30 and the 18 and the collective sharing circuit. Eddie shows up and he's in the low. He's unsure of his desires and he's just kind of numb. He's not sure. He wanted what he wanted last night, and today it's a little bit different.
Hi, Scarlett.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Oh, I'm so excited to see you.
Well, I'm excited to see you too. How are you doing today?
Really well. I'm sensing a little something.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You wanna tell me what's alive in you?
I don't know. one of them days, I guess. I'm just feeling a little off, maybe. I'm not really sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, just not, a little down, I guess.
You feel this often?
From time to time, I do, I guess. I don't know. I just, I was looking forward to seeing you and all. I just felt like, I don't know, last night was a lot. And I didn't know if maybe I came on too strong or I'm not really sure. But I just like to be upfront and honest with you. It's really nice to meet you.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, I wanted to have some coffee with you. I know we talked about a lot of plans last night.
Yeah, we did.
I don't know. I've been so busy with work and everything.
Is this something that's normal for you?
No, it just depends. I kind of don't know. I just,
Well, here's the deal. I was super excited for our time together, and I want to offer you an opportunity to not be worried about whatever it is that's happening inside of you and just come and have an experience with me.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, a lot. Because I feel a lot right now. I'm frustrated. I'm sad. I have all these great ideas and desires. I just want to make them happen, but then they don't. And I'm just so burnt out by the whole experience of it all. It's like, who came up with life, It's kind of got me freaked out right now, I have so many great dreams that I want to do and things happen, but I don't know. They just don't always work out. And I don't want to drag you down into that mud, I felt like I made a lot of promises maybe last night and all these adventures we could do, and I don't know.
It kind of sounds like you have this expectation that something is supposed to happen or going to happen or needs to happen in some kind of way. And I just want to offer you the opportunity and a new perspective to see the bigger picture. This is a movie. We're playing a game. I want you to play with me and not be so serious.
Well, that sounds beautiful, but it doesn't sound like life, we try the best we can, but in the end, it's always just seems like it blows up. It just doesn't ever work out, right? Sometimes maybe.
Yeah.
But
Do
at
you
the end
want
of
a perspective that helps me?
I would love to.
Yeah. You can never fuck this up.
Yeah, right.
Life is a play. It is a dance between the joys and the sadness, the melancholy and the high. This is an opportunity for us to watch the movie, to be in this space where your creativity can enliven our experiences. So you said you wanted to go on that adventure the other day. What is it about adventures that fuels your creativity?
I don't know. I just love them. The excitement, the thrill, nature, really gets my juices flowing. I'm happy in those times.
Yeah.
I can really feel creative in that sense. And I go climb the mountains, float the rivers, I come back, I ride, I play music. I get that point. It sounds logical that there's this and there's that and all that, but I don't know. In the end, I still get sad. I still get mad. I just don't understand why, it's like, I got it, I know, and then I don't, and then it's gone. And it's just like this ridiculous cycle over and over. Who came up with this shit?
You must think that whatever created this could have created one of its constituents to fuck it up. It's just not possible. It's just not possible.
I've come pretty close before, I think.
Yeah, no, this story is written for you, my love. This story has been written for you in the highs and in the lows. This story has been written for you to experience the joy and the sadness, all of it. You would never go to a movie and watch somebody tiptoe through the daisies for 3 fucking hours. How boring. You want excitement. You want adventure. What is exciting about your life?
Well, these adventures, I just love the thrill of it, It really moves me. I feel what you're saying. I think I could be even more creative. I never spend any time on it, but I know those moments when I just know that I am like touching the gods with what it means to be me, but that it's gone. It just disappears. Mm-hmm. But I hear what you're saying. Maybe, I guess I could come around to that idea.
So now you can maybe sense that we have went through into the 55. And now that we're moving into the 28, we're back into individual empowerment. Eddie lightens up a bit and he's talking about his individual creative spirit. And he's engaging with Scarlett about what it means to feel purposeless and what it means to feel his spirit and the melancholy that comes from having to balance both of those two things. So I feel you. What I hear you saying is that these dark times are, a place where you feel like you shouldn't exist, like you don't exist.
Exactly.
And where you do exist, where is that?
Well, there, when that's happening, and I hate it. I just want to get out of it. I just don't see the connection. Why both? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, this is a movie, and the purpose of this movie is for transformation. We are humans having a human experience. And in order for humans to have a human experience, we need to transform. We need to move through the spiral of understanding from sadness, this purposelessness, this feeling of the dark and the depth and the flirting with the not being here. This is a moment for you to realize and understand why you are here. There is a purpose for you, my dear, in this movie. And you get to watch it and be the witness. At least this is what's helped me in my life, is to learn to be the watcher of this movie and watch the highs and the lows, feel purposelessness. And then when I feel there is no purpose at all and I am completely surrendered, that's when purpose makes itself known. Where do you feel purposeful?
Well, that's pretty interesting. I mean, it sounds pretty logical. I mean, I guess I can get my head around it. I don't know if I feel it, but it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I can see myself doing that. I resonate with what you're saying about when I'm feeling myself. I get that on my own. There's these moments of almost enlightenment, of joy and experience, but then as soon as you move past that, then there's a relationship, which is what I wanted when I met you last night.
Yeah.
And then it never works out again. It's like, how is someone going to have that kind of freedom in a relationship? That's impossible.
So you hear, we've moved into Tribal 49. Eddie understands what I've said and that this is a movie, and he is here to free his spirit, and he is here to be the fullest expression of him. But he's like, how the fuck do I do that with somebody else? This is our dilemma, right? And so then the 32 comes in and talks about, Eddie, life is a dance. A dance of finding all of the creative ways of how to be love. How to be love in a way that sets everybody free. So I want to talk to you about the way that I love. Okay. And the way that I love is a way that will set you free. I understand that the transformation of consciousness is why we exist. And through the mirror of our relationships is how we transform. I understand that being in relationship with you leads me closer to my spirit and your spirit in every way, in all ways. I am ready to love you in a way that feels so free that you have no idea what to do with yourself.
I've never heard of a relationship like that before. Sounds intriguing, though.
It would be.
Well, I'm willing to give it a try.
Let's get out of here.
Okay, let's go.
And there we go.
So the potential awareness skates are fun. We had fun playing with that because we don't know what's going to happen. We're pre-center developed, right? There's waiting for the root pressure. Those experiences that we don't know how it's going to work, but yet we're so often tied to the way it's gone before. And so we hope that you guys could hear the symmetry between those gates, between these centers, forming like a helix between the spleen and the solar plexus. They never stop going back and forth. The awareness centers are like an interface between what's happening on the outside and what's happening on the inside.
Yeah, and without the experience, there's no wisdom of the splenic response. There's no, without an experience for me to jump into, without going on the river with Eddie and feeling him, there's no snapshot, there's no taste for my splenic system. And so the experience of the emotional life gives the splenic system its wisdom and its knowing and its ability to take those snapshots and to feel all that's in that one picture.
And in the uncertainty and nervousness of the future, which I'm willing to lean into as an inner authority emotional, I'm ready to go, I guess, even though it's crashed and burned so many times, but I have the handrail of the spleen guiding me through that in a way.
Yeah. And the spleen just wants him to hurry up, right? And just fucking get on with it. But this is, I think, part of the wisdom that we get to grow into as splenic awareness systems, is that we get to have a relationship and a symbiosis and an infinity of energy that gets to play between the two of us, because my response is right now and right now, but it's also different right now, and it's also different right now. And right now, every single moment, the geometry is moving. And so I have an opportunity to taste the moment that that the emotional center brings to us. So the splenic and the emotional center, I think, bring the evolution of consciousness, right? We were talking about how my experience of his being is what is the evolution, the transformation of human consciousness. So the defined and the open center, especially the splenic and the emotional playing together, is really a beautiful thing.
What I thought was just a desire to bond in the 59-6,
Yeah.
like tonight, turned into this big evolution of, whoa, there's so much more involved.
Yeah.
I have to go through all these expectations and cultural conditioning and work these things out based on my own emotional principles, which are constantly changing. Going up and down
and
and
the
around.
splenic being just wants to be here now, be with you now. I just want, no, just now, just be with you now. And so I think part of the evolution of this is to have the realization that right now in this moment, releasing any need for homogenization, releasing any need for these conditioned beliefs that things must be some kind of way, and allowing the emotional experience to give us the wisdom, or give the spleen the wisdom.
And the fun.
Oh, yes, that too.
Well, I just wanted to get laid and I had to go through all that. She was ready at the beginning probably with that spleen.
I knew in 5 seconds.
But I had to
wanted
go
all
on
of
a
it, but I had
long,
to
winding trip through my emotional ups and downs.
So this is a part of the chart that sometimes we don't pay attention to, but that could be a very brilliant and deep contemplation, is the symmetry between the lines. I mean, we look at circuitry and we look at how the juxtaposition of the two lines come together, but do we ever look at, the 3 pointing down from the emotional center and the 3 pointing down from the splenic system, and see how they play together, and see how one can be the tool or the learning for the other? And that's really, I think, what we wanted to offer today, along with the understanding that this is a play, this is a movie, this is something to watch, and not something to get so caught up in. 17 minutes.
That's pretty quick.
That was real quick. We iterated that 3 different times, and it was longer than that. Does anybody have any questions? I'd love to hear them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I've been feeling a little bit confused as an emotional authority with a defined spleen, because I feel like both are so relatable. I completely related to both of you the whole time. So, do you have something to share about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I have both as well.
Yeah.
Even though I'm the emotional authority, I also have the spleen defined.
Okay.
So they're both there. And the spleen is always supporting, I'm a manifesting generator. So the spleen is supporting that moment-to-moment sacral response as well. But what I've learned to notice is that when it's a bigger decision, if the stakes are higher, I know that I need to give it some time. So I trust my spleen in any little day-to-day little things. We were driving into town and I had this hit, I was like, we should go around town. But I kind of ignored it. I'm like, we're in no hurry. Well, it turns out there was construction, there was police pulling people over, it was quite an ordeal getting through Espanola. So, but it was a little thing, it wasn't a big deal. But just that little hit, I felt something in my body of that intuition going, maybe you should look at that. Thankfully, it wasn't anything that worked out really poorly, but just to say that I noticed those hits, but they really have to be fed through my authority. So anything that's going to appear to me to feel more important, I'm still going to take my time, even though my spleen is there moment to moment. Which channel, what defines your emotional authority?
It's connected to the ego.
To the ego, to the channel of community.
37.
Yeah, so we were thinking about that. We did.
We
just started this yesterday. We ran out of time to kind of explore the other side of the centers, because that's where we would look at probable awareness. What's coming out once the centers, these are 2 awareness centers, have processed everything, what's next? We go into the manifesting stage. So we were really just in the courting phase and all the drama that can go in with that, solar plexus. But also the wisdom. She has millennia of genetic experience to draw from on what's going to make our species better, our relationships better, our tribes, our communities thrive. That channel would be the next stage. We just, hopefully in that little skit there, solidified the bond. There's a connection now.
This is the potential, not the probability, right? So these gates that point down is the potential for awareness or not, or the potential or not. The ones that are pointing up is the probability or not. So we have to get through the potential first.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So what about for people who have them both undefined, but might have some gates? You got anything to say about that? Because I often don't like I have so many questions for people with emotional authority. I'm like, I don't understand. You change your mind every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't know how to be with you. And then I also have, it's really confusing.
We are confusing.
For sure. Yes, for sure. But there's no truth in the now. So this is what we've got to know. And we've got to know that even though there is a definitive something that feels really definitive to us, but that's not true. Just remember, it's not, there's no truth in the now. So with with emotional beings, it's just about riding the wave until they say that they're clear. We've got to wait, just like they do.
But your question's about you having the open solar plexus and spleen.
Yeah, I don't know. Just if you have anything to say about that, sacral.
That it's, moment to moment, right? So it's still there at any moment to feel the connection. See, I can speak to that out of my 59.6, which is defined. But the bedrock of my design, and anyone that has 59.6, in any chart, that is the bedrock. That's the foundation. That's the fundamental essence that we're either going to bond, we're going to connect, or do nothing. You as the sacral are available and possible, have the energy to give to a connection. But it's in that response, you're either moving towards or away, or verbally or physically. There's either...
Well, it's very clear and very easy.
Okay.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when I talk
It's
to
your
all these other
experiment,
people
babe.
that've got the spleen talking to them, they got the ajna talking to them, I don't have that either, they got the emotional thing, I'm just like, yeah, I want it, no, I don't want it. What do you mean you're changing your mind? You feel this thing, I don't know what you're talking about.
I want to invite you to remember that your wisdom, your Jedi tricks are in these open centers. So you are the experience of consciousness through these open centers. So they're having this experience, and you are almost like an agent reporting to the Akashic field, letting the consciousness know what's happening. Here's what's happening. Here's my truth about it, my in this moment about that thing. So you're not here to get caught up or hijacked in all of that ebb and flow. You are here to be in the of your truth for you. And any hanging gates that you have in those emotional or those open centers are ones that are going to be completely inconsistent for you, and ones that you don't rely on. You rely on your true in the moment. But those open gates hanging gates are here to provide wisdom for you. So for instance, the 22 in my open emotional center, I feel all of this back and forth, and it's filtered through my hanging 22 too. So either I'm graceful or I'm fucking not. And that's just the end of it. When I feel this emotional experience, either I'm able to be charm school or the complete opposite of that. But these gates, this 22-2 isn't something for me to make decisions from. Does that answer some of your questions?
Sort of, yeah. I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to manage people who have...
You don't manage people. You understand that there are places and spaces and relationships for you that your authority is going to send you to, and you arrive there and you experience it.
So when I'm not feeling somebody's emotional whatever, I can just go get out of their way.
Yeah, you be wise. If your body goes
Okay.
if your body says and if your body says to stay there in that emotional experience, please know that this is for you to gain tools and experience and evolution through this experience to see what love sees, not to be mad and to fight.
Yeah.
You hear?
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah. Jonah, what's alive in you?
What do you mean?
I felt like you were somewhere. I wanted to see if you had anything to add.
It's just a lot of I mean, I have a lot of understandings. I don't know what questions people have. I think it would be more just, I don't know everyone's understanding. Like, do they know the gates? I mean, we're going through the gates very quickly. Like, for people to follow that.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Do people even have the context of the spleen versus the solar plexus? I'm just kind of, I don't know what people here know or don't know. Because I know, I follow what you guys are saying, but maybe people here were kind of.
Great question. Who's lost?
Some of it, or?
All right, good. Good. Okay. So what we just did is, if you're looking at your body graph, do you have a body graph in front of you so I can show you what we've just done? Do you have yours? Mm-hmm. So you see the gates from the emotional center that are pointing down towards the root, those three.
Which is the emotional center?
Okay.
So you have one hanging down there, one hanging down there.
Let me ask a quick question real fast. Who has been experimenting with human design for more than 1 year? Good to know. So you have your chart in front of you. You have your chart.
Mm-hmm.
So you see the three coming down from the emotional center.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, they're both mental projectors, the two people who are.
Oh, beautiful.
For a year.
So those three have classifications. They have lots of different layers of understanding about them. But if we talk about, so if we go back to the very beginning, and we talk, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say we should start with the solar plexus.
Okay,
for
because that's the motor. Okay.
So from that center, we're talking about the experiential way. Everything in life. Go ahead.
I just want to orient them to the charts.
It's the other side.
So, no, 59-6 is on the emotional side. You see the 6 connected to the emotions? You see the 6 connected to the emotions?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's connected to the solar plexus. This is what we're just talking about.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So that's what we call the solar plexus is the emotional center, right? It's the seat of our emotions, our emotional chemistry. The essence of it for all of us, whether it's defined or not, this is where we experience hope, pleasure, pain, suffering, sex, food, desire, passion, inspiration in the physical sense. Like everything you would think of as the experiential taste, feel, see, hear, all this in our body, you know? I mean, this is the juice we came to get out of life. This is what happens in the solar plexus. So it's about our relationships. It's about our growth, our development, our experience, that life is cycles, right? We start one, we get to the middle, we go to the end, and there's either progress and realizations or there's nothing. But yes, please.
Just that you used the word fun before.
Yeah, the fun. This is where the fun is, right?
Yeah.
The solar plexus is the juice. And it's also about making babies, right? The 59-6, which is that channel from the sacral to the solar plexus, is called the channel of mating, a design focused on reproduction. We have a genetic imperative to make more babies. That's why making babies is fun, because we got to make more. We got to survive, right? So the solar plexus has this, again, this cyclical nature of experience in life. And that's the essence of that center for all of us, whether or not it's defined or not. Now, mechanically, it operates different based on whether it's defined and reliable and part of your birth imprinting, that you are here to shine out into the world 24/7 until death, juxtaposed to openness, which means that that same center becomes a center of receptivity, where we touch the world, we feel the other person when it's open, but we're still experiencing the same essence. This is where we get this fun and juice out of life. So one half of us are coming at it from one angle where it's part of us and we're built for it to do it and share it, and the other half is built to do the same thing, but not from stability, through intermittentness, through different relationships, different things.
I have a little story about that.
Please.
Can I have your flashlight? Oh, okay. There's a phone right here. Can I borrow somebody's flashlight? Okay. So an emotional definition or a defined center is like a flashlight. It is always, doing its thing. Always, always, always. The undefined center is experiencing this flashlight. This flashlight is just being the flashlight. It's bright, it's obnoxious, it's doing whatever it's doing, right? It's just being that. It has no experience of its being. But me, with the open center, I'm like, well, shit, that's too bright. Oh, that's real hot. Oh, get further away. Oh, it's this, it's that, it's the other. And then I'm amplifying this light back to itself. if I am sometimes out of myself, and sometimes because it's really fucking fun to amplify that light back to itself. But the defined center is always the light. The defined center is not necessarily experiencing the light, it's being the light. The undefined center is experiencing the light, and either amplifying it unconsciously and sending it back to the flashlight, or it's experiencing it and relishing it and taking notes about it. And right? Two totally different things with an open and a defined center. Thank you.
So that's how our story started, was at the solar plexus, right? This desire for a new experience, new relationship, which is how we were trying to play it out there.
Yeah.
We just met and we're like, hey, new person, new relationship. What's happening here? It might be something I can feel out of this, grow out of this, develop out of this. Who knows where it's going to go?
Yeah, and my spleen knows that moment to moment things are different, and I just want to have this experience of this emotional chemistry in my body, relying always on my definition and my authority to move me through the world. Always, always, always. But having the experience and becoming wise in the centers that I don't have.
So share the defined spleen then for us. I just did the solar plexus.
Beautiful, thank you. So the defined spleen is, moment to moment, logical, judging, looking at patterns, looking at history. Will I survive? Will I not survive? The spleen just keeps me alive, right? The emotional center has clarity. The spleen is just, are you alive? Or are you not alive? Are these patterns something that you can trust? Or is this something new? Is this something that you feel like there will be failure? Or can you see the bigger picture of the whole thing? And being able to make those decisions in the moment, in the moment, in the moment. And I think the evolved wisdom that the spleen has gained from all of the millennia of the experience of the defined emotional center is that it is moment to moment. We see this in our relationships all over the place, the evolution of these relationships being from this homogenized view of marriage and commitment into this, no, I'm here for this experience and I love this experience until I don't love it anymore and then I'm out. And so to have arrangements and containers that create that kind of experience is, I think, what the spleen is moving into. But it's all about logic and pattern recognition and seeing the bigger picture and understanding the movie of it all. Really, the movie. This is, you are the divine, and this biology, this energy that's in your body is eternal, has been alive forever and will be alive forever. It's just now in this biology that has a program, has a design, has a something, has a purpose, has a filter in which to shine it in the world. And so this, whatever your definition is, we're here to play with the other in that way, to be able to report back to consciousness, this fucking amazing movie.
It's back and forth, back and forth. But me being emotional, her being splenic, this spontaneity, it also can be dry.
Yeah.
Kind of boring.
Oh,
It's
it can
just
be
a
real
picture, a whole bunch of pictures. There's no it's not liquid form.
Yeah.
Solar plexus is like liquid, like bodily fluid liquid, like
I don't want to
kissing.
process it. I just
Right.
want to yes, I want it or no, I don't. I have that answer in the moment. And the emotional center is more of the experience. Let's talk about this. Let's see what it would be like this way. Let's see what it would be like this way, and playing the tape in all of the directions.
But one can't live without the other. We need what both of these centers do. One is not more valuable or important than the other, but one cannot exist without the other.
How does that feel for your understanding, you guys?
Definitely helpful.
Definitely helpful? Yeah? Any more questions? I'd love to hear them.
We could just kind of recap real quick, and I guess that'd be it. But so we moved from there, which we call gate 6 and gate 50, where we started the dialogue between the solar plexus and the spleen. And then we moved in, yes.
Sorry, I thought of a question.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about moving through these gates, does any of it matter which you have? Like if you have a hanging gate and she has the opposite hanging gate, or you have the same hang? Like how
Well, I
does all
see
that
you
work?
have 59 in an open center, yeah?
Cool, good eyesight.
So that experience is going to be a lot different than kind of the way that we played this out. That experience is going to be this, your solar plexus, or your sacral is not something that's consistent for you. It's something that is activated either by the transit or the environment. And so that 59, depending on what line it is going to expose itself in that space and place. Not all the time. Is that part of your question?
No, my question was more like generally, like when you were talking about these, were you talking about hanging gates, or you were just
No.
saying this channel, regardless of if it's defined? Or
That's
not?
right. We were just talking from the archetype
Gotcha.
of the gates within the particular circuitry that they're in, regardless of whether it was defined or not. But we can talk about defined or not and how that would affect it.
Yeah, I mean, just it doesn't need to be like specific to this, but just generally, like I know that from something Mike said a couple weeks ago. You know, like if I have a friend who has like, you know, I have something and then they have the opposite. There's like a, you know, you feel like a connection there because it kind of completes it.
Yeah.
But that's all I know as far as hanging gates go.
Yeah, right. Electromagnetic connection, right? Where and it feels electromagnetic in itself because it's sparkly. It feels good, and there's an equal exchange in that sense. But again, there's so many factors. We would say, well, did you both have an undefined solar plexus connected through an electromagnetic channel? That may indicate one way the solar plexus. You guys would fix the solar plexus experience together in that sense. Where if one person had it defined and the other person didn't, as in our case, but wasn't defined through an electromagnetic channel, the idea would it be one person, if they're defined, they're still driving that experiential chemistry of the experience together.
Because they're the flashlight.
Exactly. So solar plexus is defined in about 50% of all charts. So half of humanity is walking around with an outward producing emotional wave. And the other 50% is deciding whether or not they want to be part of that or not.
Yeah, I have a short comment on that. The great human design analyst Randy Richmond said that's actually one of the very first things you can learn when you're getting into human design is just look at the people you know in your life who are defined solar plexus or not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as big as type, or, you know, it'd be even more easy to see that than projector versus generator. At first, when you're first learning, your first year. And the way he put it, he was splenic, and so was Ra. And he said, you know, when he first learned it, he realized, wow, you can tell him something once, and he will understand it. He'll never forget it.
Right.
You can tell Ra once, never forget it. He's like, these emotional people, they learn something, you know they learn it, you test them, they know it. 2 days later, they've forgotten, because their wave changed. Then they learn it again, then they forget again. Then they learn it again, and they forget again. He goes, how do these people survive having to be told and learn something 100 times over, and they always forget, and you're sure that they know it, and then they forget, and then they know it again, and they forget. But then he eventually learned the other side of it. The other side is that they are actually continually updating their models of reality. They're updating their relationships. And he would turn to Ra and say, you took a photo of this person 5 years ago. You're still their friend because of who they were 5 years ago. This person's not good for you. They're nothing to do with you. But you took that photo and you have never updated that photo once. And so they each have an advantage and a disadvantage. And the spleen can be completely stuck in the past.
That's
It
right.
really is a sort of a past. So I mean, it's just interesting to kind of see the difference, you know, between the two. You know, the spleen can take a photo and be very effective and quick, but it might never update that photo. The solar plexus can be so slow, but it's continually updating its image of other people.
Gaining emotional intelligence at all times.
Exactly.
But what if when it's neither? I mean, because some people are not splenic nor emotional, right? So where's their, what are they in that situation?
The wisdom. They're wisdom gatherers. They're here to experience both of those energies and to have wisdom about that.
Yeah. If you have undefined spleen, you cannot make a split-second spontaneous decision. They say for undefined spleen, being spontaneous will get you killed. I mean, there are plenty of people that have undefined spleen who spontaneously decide to go swimming in the middle of the night and you never see them again, you know. It's not, they don't have the splenic awareness that will keep them alive in the moment. They also do not have the slow emotional awareness that emerges over time.
Right.
What they have is the potential for wisdom, which can be gained through the deconditioning of the not-self themes. Basically, the spleen not-self theme of holding on to things that aren't good for you, the solar plexus not-self theme of avoiding confrontation and truth.
Right.
So those are going to be the two yardsticks. If you have undefined spleen, are you holding on to things that aren't good for you? If you have undefined solar plexus, are you avoiding confrontation and truth?
It's interesting just to see the parallel those two also as undefined spleen, the problem is the letting go of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and the undefined solar plexus is the letting in of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always talk about with undefined spleen, it's like you clear up hard drive space by getting rid of stuff you don't care about anymore, whether it's shoes or clothes or furniture or relationships or hobbies. Anything you remove from your life creates space for something new to be in your life. And undefined solar plexus is almost like you get backed up from too much stuff emotionally. If you never have that confrontation, then there's never any awareness there, and it can never elaborate itself.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing you guys were alluding to is that relationship between the solar plexus and the idea of story structure.
Right.
The idea of something unfolding or evolving or bringing new dimensions of itself to you is all solar plexus.
Right.
And so if you never have the confrontation, then it can't realize its fullness.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm. That is right.
That is a beautiful awareness and contemplation on my behalf, for sure, as there have been times that my spleen made a choice, and it made a choice, and so I didn't see anything through. It just made the choice, and there I went. And it wasn't necessarily about alive or not alive. It was just, is this for me or not? But I was so backed up in this processing of all of these emotions that there was no ability to take in. There was no ability to be wise.
So I'm very new to human design, but are you saying then that as a splenic authority, you're so emotional, it's just manifesting in a different way?
I'm experiencing emotions in every moment, in every way, and I could get absolutely hijacked by it. I could look like more emotional than an emotionally defined person in any moment. In my practice, my therapeutic practice, I see that most patients that are medicated are solar plexus undefined. And they are medicated because they are the amplifiers. They are the expression, if they don't understand their own body's wisdom, they are the expression of this emotional field, whether in the negative or in the positive, the amplification of that negative field. So the open solar plexus does look like the bipolar, does look like the depressive, does look like those things. So yeah, I am saying that I do experience emotions in such a deep way, but to understand that my body is here to have the experience of them, not make decisions through them.
But it could also be the cold open solar plexus.
For sure.
You're expressing it from the viewpoint of being amplified, which it can feel
Right.
amplified,
And
but
I
it
can
could
shut
be
it off.
expressed as
Super
totally
selfish.
cold and
Mhm.
cool, and I'm not there wherever you are, but inside there could be a lot of.
Yeah, I was telling a story about my child, my emotionally defined son. I have 3 unemotionally defined children and 1 emotionally defined child. And he would want to process and talk through and try, and my splenic being, try, you don't try, you fucking do or you don't. Do it right now. You sit or you don't sit. Let's fucking make a decision. And I was not allowing him to move through this process because in my body, well, there was 2 things going on. First, I knew the truth. And second, I didn't want to feel the wave. I didn't want to go through that. I didn't want to feel the melancholy. I didn't want to feel all of that. I knew what was truthful, and I was not patient enough to wait through his wave. So these are things that we get to experience and learn through with each other. My youngest son and I, he would give me code words. We've come up with code words after a few years of when I'm hijacked in my space and I need to go do my thing and he needs to process. He'll give me a hippopotamus. Hey, Mama, hippopotamus. I'll be like, oh, okay, baby. And I'll give him time and I'll move with what I want to move with, but understand that if I want him to be with me, I get to wait.
I just have a quick comment that also for some of the newcomers about when you have an open center is basically when you're susceptible to contagion from those who have that center defined. If you have a family with 5 members in the family, 4 of them are solar plexus defined, they're not affecting each other emotionally. The one undefined person is being affected by all 4 of them. So when people say they catch feelings, this or that, that's the undefined that is susceptible to contagion. It also works with the spleen. You can have splenically defined people doing very dangerous things, free climbing, spontaneously adventuring in the mountains. The undefined person will be under the pressure to impulsively act spontaneously without their own innate ability to tell them when there's danger.
Yeah.
So it's not the splenic person crossing the street suddenly at risk. It's the undefined spleen person who follows them across the street who's at risk.
That's basically human design in a nutshell.
Uh-huh.
This is an astrology human design overlap question. So I'm new in human design, but in my nuclear family, my mom, my dad, and my brother have really similar charts as well as like the elemental makeup, let's say. I'm clearly the odd one out in astrology. So could I almost superimpose that that's true in human design?
Yes, is that do they have all defined solar plexus? Do they have...
only kind of know my mom's trying to get all these
Yeah.
But
And
I
if
just
that's
wondering
the
if there
story,
was a link or not.
that's the story you want to tell, right? You
No,
can
I mean,
tell
I
any
just
kind
want to
of
ask the
story.
question. I'm not trying to tell a story particularly. I'm just curious because I have a bigger background in astrology.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And have seen I've intuitively felt that I've held a lot of things for my entire family. And let's say it looks like that. Like if we look at how different I've experienced, and also let's say, anyways, it's a lot of psychology and some astrology. But I didn't mean to say I want it to be anyway. I just want to learn things. That's all.
I think whatever it is, it's that somehow we choose our families to get the biggest challenge of how we're going to grow and develop. And that's the parents' job too. Not only from a mundane physical world reality, parents need to raise children, but yet as souls, we need to have experiences. And so when we look at family, is there a similarity in the charts? My chart's pretty similar to my mom's, interestingly, so you could say that, but you could have it just as different as well. But I think whatever it is, we set ourselves up for these triggers so we can have the growth and development. It's not meant to be.
Grace. It is grace, this growth and development, this being the black sheep, this being the odd man out, this being the one that is different than everyone else, this story, this mythology that you are here to play, all of these other characters that are aligned in their own way but completely different than you are here to bring you. So we could talk about 28 again, and we can talk about the bigger picture, the totality of purpose, the why are you here? And you are here to move through. In my belief, this is a little bit outside of human design, but in my belief, we are here to move our fractal lineage into new understandings and beliefs, into, if you will, a higher frequency, a higher epigenetic expression of our biology. And in order to do that, you need characters in your play that challenge you. You need characters in your movie that push you beyond who you are. And because you are here as the odd man out in this movie that you are playing, you are now being gifted the grace of moving into actually what your purpose is to affect change in all of that.
I have one more comment. Maybe you guys could talk about it. So Ra gives the keynote of the solar plexus as sexuality. And I think you covered that really well about how sexuality does have a certain relationship to food and to experience and all of these things. But then the keynote he gives to the spleen is caring. And I wondered if you could speak a little to the spleen and what its role is in caring.
Yeah, I'd love to, because the spleen absolutely cares. All of these gates are of intuitive survival. Who's the right person for our fractal? What skills can I bring to the table to help everybody? How can we achieve? What is our purpose here? All of this energy, how can I judge for continuity? This judgment isn't to make everybody wrong. This judgment is so that we can all survive and love each other and be together. And so this caring that's in the spleen, it can be very cold. It's not emotional, it's caring. Those two totally different things. I absolutely care. And so I'm going to be here in this moment and care each and every moment. Do I care about the process? Fuck no. I care about the outcome. I care about the truth, whatever that truth is for the moment. But it's about bringing you into a understanding of you can survive through the bigger picture. We can survive through achievement. We can survive in knowing who is our people and who are not our people. We can survive through understanding that intuitive touch and allowing our uneasiness to subside and fall into that intuitive knowing, to know what skills are valuable, and to have the upliftment of the emotionally defined person that believes in you, right? Because I just have this moment-to-moment thing. I'm like, I don't fucking know. I'm not clear. I'm just being pushed over here. And I do care about how I present to everyone, or how this, how I acclimate, how I integrate into the world around me. And I I feel like my caring is informed by the emotional experience. I care about what the emotional experience is bringing me, and I care for the continuity and the achievement and the survival of that.
And that's why so initially conservative. The spleen
Right.
is initially not. I
Judging.
mean, right?
Yeah.
It's
Pattern
initially
recognizing.
not there until some experience proves otherwise.
That's right.
It's a no.
That's right.
This has kept us alive. That direction, we're not sure.
That's right.
And so we're waiting for the correct experience to be able to reflect and judge whether this will bring new transformation and continuity.
Because we care. Because we care. Because we want to survive. Because we want to connect. Because we want desire and passion and all of these things that this center brings into our life.
It could be upgraded.
Yeah.
The spleen is ready for upgrade. It's got to be proven.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Does that feel good?
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely, and also just the two defense channels, maybe.
Oh,
you
for
mentioned
sure.
the 659, what's the role of the
The 5027.
5027? Yeah, because that's like the two halves of how we survive,
Yeah.
basically. Make
Yeah.
more and
Why we
And
have a
nurture it.
species.
keep them alive.
Yeah. Make more and nurture it. So the 50 is, I want to know if mating with you is going to, or I want to feel. It's not no. Like, I know that we use these languages, but it's never no. I don't want you to get that wrong. It's never hear no. For a splenic, for the 5027, it's a hear no. It's a hit in our body. Because I could never explain, why I was attracted to this thing. But I know that in my body, the primal response is that this thing is going to, if I mate with this person is going to bring forth the next species or human that is going to survive, because they have all of the characteristics and qualifications that my pattern has shown will bring continuity. And then I'm going to love it. And then I'm going to take care of it. And then I'm going to give it everything it needs and hold it and love it and bring it into its own in the 27. But it's not through this emotional need, passion, ooey gooey molassesness. It's through hard and fast right now. You need to eat, I'll get you food. You need to learn, here's a book. You need to have this experience, let's go. It's never about let's talk about this, let's write music about this, let's write a poem. No, come on, let's survive. It's the other side of it. You have anything to add?
Back to the 59.6. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
59.6 is the genetic imperative. And we keep doing it.
Do it again.
In spite of all the odds and
Yeah.
the risks and the drama and the trauma, we're back in again. That's what it's going to do.
Well, and it's also funny that the spleen is so instantaneous, and yet Ra jokes, if you reversed the 5027 on the splenic side with the 659, you would take 18 years to find a mate. because raising a kid, right?
Yeah, for
Raising a kid
sure,
is on
yeah.
the splenic side. So
Yeah.
even though it is instantaneous moment to moment to moment, it's also designed to care long enough to bring that child into adulthood.
Oh, for sure. For
And
sure,
that-
commitment to it.
Yeah, that just explains that dynamic tension
Yeah.
between the solar plexus, willing to lean forward into the uncertainty of the future, and the spleen going, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's in that tension we have our existence, and the sacral is the fertility of that and the sanctity of the energy to create life. So it's managing all that in the middle.
Yeah.
Way earlier in the skit, you use the phrase making babies or whatever, and that's a good, there's no better or worse way to make a baby, right?
But there's a better or worse way to raise a kid.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right,
oh, for
right.
sure.
You can level up at your ability to take care of a child or whatever, but there's no.
But making
leveling
babies
up.
is just making babies.
Every instance is different. I
Yeah.
mean, the proof of that is the diversity of people that have already been made.
That's
they
right.
They were babies once, and we're all just this crazy. There was only one time ever that each of us was born, and that's why we have the charts that we do, because there was one time ever that baby was born at that minute of that day, whatever. Like that baby was made, and it only happened once, and it's a sample of that time, never to be seen again.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. This is, if I could get here, this is the divine informed. This is what makes you God. or makes you the creator in form is it's only been here once. It's here encapsulated in this biology for one purpose. And this, maybe not one purpose, right? We have an entire iteration of purposes. You can go anywhere you want, the beautiful free will, of the design. Okay, let me correct myself and not say free will, because there is no choice, but there's perception, freedom of perception. And so I think where I was expounding on that is the understanding that your design, that this energy in biology is only here for this time. It is purposeful. There is a reason for it. That's just a soapbox I like to sit on.
I had one other note just from your thing earlier about like the different kind of knowing or whatever. In human design, the keynote term for individual circuitry is knowing.
Yeah.
And the keynote for logical circuitry, which passes through the spleen exclusively, is understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think of like the classic sort of American folk wisdom about the etymology of the word understanding, that it implies this foundation, that it applies this rootedness, that it applies being under, that it implies a footing, a standing, that there is a, like, it's a lot
Roots.
different than knowing just, knowing in the sense of just like having a gnosis.
Right.
It's that a body of knowledge is built up. Right?
Beautiful.
That's what's solid about the spleen and what's solid about understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can spontaneously know something through the ajna or the solar plexus or the
Yeah,
spleen.
but you're right. It's an understanding, but it's not an understanding that gives clarity.
Mm.
It's just a snapshot of an understanding.
Mm.
And it's not necessarily that something that can be articulated.
Mm.
It's just a...
But it does. It establishes the new foundation, part of that
That's
upgrade.
right.
Once it gets upgraded, it's there for us.
It's proved in a way that the other circuitry isn't. It's proved
Yes.
and it lasts. And again, the like dryness, wetness thing, it's like when things are dry, they're sustained, they last for longer.
Yep.
When things are wet, they're always changing and it's hard to, they might
Pin
look
'em
different
down.
the next day.
Yeah.
Did you have something?
Yeah, actually, you mentioned something. I don't know if it's human design, if it's just Brandy, but that there is no freedom of choice. There's freedom of perception.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say more?
Yeah, well, Ra talks about no choice. I mean, this is one of his foundational elements of no choice. And what he means by no choice is you are energy and form. You are limited by the biology that you inhabit, but your energy is not necessarily limited, is what I believe. So let me go back to our only choice is perception. We are going to do what we're going to do. We are going to move in the way that we are going to move. If you look back on the story of your life, you can see that your only choice was really how you perceived it. What story did you write about it? Did you write that you were the odd man out, or did you write that you were the impactor of your family, that you changed the lineage, that you broke generational curses, beliefs that they have held forever because your existence came into matter? So is it your perception is your only choice? You have a design. I am going to be a splenic person for better or for worse. I am going to be a 6'2" splenic ego manifester, and I've tried fucking not to be. I promise you I've tried. And it doesn't work. I get sick, I entropy, and I die. This is what my experience has been. My experience is my only truth is in my perception. How do I choose to see what's happening today? And what I choose is to work as hard as I can to see what love sees, period. And I think that that's what we're here. That's what evolution is. That's a Brandy thing. But I think that's what we are here to do as energy in form, is to evolve into a place where we see that this is a play, this is a Maya, this is a fun game, that we get to choose our own adventure, our perception of this adventure within. And our biology, our human design, gives us this framework that we can align back to and drop every fucking thing that we're not, that we collected along the way, and get on the business of the movie. Anybody else? I'd love to hear what's alive in you. Does anybody have anything bubbling?
Is your spleen connected to your throat?
It is not.
Really?
It is not. That is where my split is.
I've been wondering kind of this whole time.
I have a defined head and ajna through the 6447. I have a defined 24/6 in my personality sun. I have a defined 63 in my nodes. My split, I have 43. My split is there. I don't have 23 and I don't have 11, but I have 56 and a lot of other things below.
You have 23 in transits right now.
Yeah.
Uranus.
Mm-hmm. And 20 that connects to my 5710, so I'm like, yeah.
Yeah? Yeah?
How about you?
I'm horrible at asking questions. I'm sure that's in my chart.
Yeah.
I just like soaking it all in.
That's why I like to ask what's alive in you, because it's not some like weird question. It's like really tap in, go into your body and say, okay, well, there's vibrations, or there's sadness, or there's curiosity. What's alive in you is a fun one. Do you feel to answer that? Beautiful.
I have a question. It's not really related to anything we've been talking about, but it was something I was thinking about earlier. So if you're, what do you think? Like if you're following your strategy and authority, is it possible to still accumulate bad karma if you're acting from that place?
What is your definition of karma?
I don't have one at the ready.
I feel like bad karma is part of what we talk about in human design in terms of we have this limited understanding as the beings that we are. So to know what bad karma is while we're in the middle of karma, I don't know. Personally, I don't know that that's definable. Maybe.
I think in this life, I'm on the cross of incarnation, and I think in this life that the karma is not living within your trajectory. Your trajectory is your design, your strategy and authority. What are you, a generator? Manifesting generator. So your trajectory is in your satisfaction and your peace. I don't know what that story looks like for you. You don't know what that story looks like for you, but that's your trajectory. Anytime you are outside of your trajectory, I believe this is how you are making karma. You are creating karma. When you are not following your body's strategy and authority, the wisdom of your body that knows the direction in which it needs to travel for purpose, and you are outside of that geometry. The reason that I say that it's creating karma, my belief of karma is whenever we speak, we create an electromagnetic field. An electromagnetic field from our larynx is mathematics, right? It's mathematics in the field. It's floating around. Mathematics needs an equation, a full equation in order to reconcile itself. When you are outside of your divine trajectory, the design of this biology, this energy and form, you are creating mathematics in the field that is not designed for that. And so karma is just this energy coming back over and over to reconcile the mathematics that you created in the field all those fucking times you didn't follow your body. So is there bad or good?
It's just
I don't
feedback.
think so. It's just feedback.
It's not like we get, again, if we're in the head trying to judge whether it's good or bad or positive or negative.
It's just feedback. If you don't want to create karma, stay in satisfaction.
And also just a side comment that Ra specifically calls 4 of the 12 profiles, the karmic profiles.
Right.
And that
there are some people that are here to do that.
Yeah, and so in the 7 personal destiny profiles, he basically says they'll pay off their karma when they come back around as a karmic profile. This life, they do nothing but create karma.
Right.
And then they pay it off later in a different life, basically.
And the transpersonal are here to close those karma loops, the transpersonal profiles, the 4 of those. We are here. The left angles, yes, are here. Everything we meet is closing those karma gaps or those mathematics in the field that we created every time this energy was in biology before now.
But I also see what you were saying is that karma is also kind of just like an equation where if you put out something, it has to come back.
That's right.
And so it really is just kind of simple math, and that we often talk about in human design meeting resistance, and that strategy and authority eliminates resistance. That's what your strategy does. And I think that is a way of not basically leaving these unclosed equations that will come back as resistance later, because you kind of were able to navigate it without incurring extra extra resistance.
as a projector, I feel like I accumulate karma by expressing my opinions too much with people.
Uninvited opinions.
Uninvited opinions, for sure.
I never really thought about it.
Comes back.
This
Isn't it?
whole thing, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
know. So how would that look with waiting for the invitation? I'm like, where was I accumulating karma by not waiting for the invitation? Was I initiating things I shouldn't initiate? And I was like, no.
No.
There's definitely the moments I was like, I think you should do this. And they're like,
And I want to
I
remind
don't
you
think so.
that you can't fuck this up. Like, even if you act outside of your alignment, like, there is no messing this up. There is an experience of all of us doing this together. And we are going to stay here until we do this together in the way that we had designed originally. We remember how we were designed originally to do this. And so you can't mess this up. You can't. Karma is not a bad thing. When you say bad karma, it's, I, from my perspective, don't believe necessarily in the bad and the good. This might be the 6-2 in me, but it is just the game and the play, right? Again, we would not go to the movies and watch somebody tiptoe through the tulips for 3 hours. It'd be boring as hell. We need we need the adventure, the excitement, the ups and the downs of all of it. And so sometimes people call that life game good karma or bad karma. There's nothing to achieve. It's just about being. There's nowhere to get to. You're never going to get anywhere. You're just going to live. There's no bad or good. Yay.
Thank you. Nice.
Thanks, guys.